Right, so I posted up, and I was glad for the response. People understood it, and something I do here in the studio, and it's important to understand about the white belt. And I think there's two topics here: why earn the white belt, and how to make your kid indistractable. Because, and adults too, adults are distracted also, like children today. There's a lot of distractions out there for us. News, media, social media, it distracts us, and hence why I don't watch a lot of television till it's the end of the night, and I'm usually watching comedy stuff because I want to laugh before I go to bed. I don't want to be miserable, so I don't watch too much of the news. I just catch up on feeds. That's one way to keep me from getting distracted. But the white belt in martial arts, we've had this concept that the white belt, well, it's the beginner belt, so it's not valuable, and you get it because you started out. And I remember in my previous organization, and Ed knows the organization, there was an instructor who had a process of the student had a 5-day kind of process of earning their uniform and getting their belt at the end of the 5 days and then signing on to be a member. And this was to help the organization professionalize, their studios, because really they were kind of horrible. There's only a few successful ones. I was one of them, and I was on board with it. I thought it was a pretty good idea. Earn your white belt. I mean, it makes sense. And the Grand Master was like, no, you're supposed to be a white belt when you start. How dare you try and make them earn a belt that they're supposed to have anyway? They earn the other belts. And it was like, okay. I think it was a cultural difference. He didn't understand that it's okay. Not everybody who joins might continue, but if they earn that belt, it makes it more valuable. Everything has value when you earn it, even the white belt. So bounce around, bounce around. There's a lot of schools like that. It's like, they're white belts anyway. What's the big deal? And I'm not into like saying make it so difficult that it's impossible. What do you teach someone in the first 2 days of training? You teach them how to hold their hands up. You teach them how to maybe block something, punch correctly, and maybe one kick. We really don't get into the self-defense stuff until they've had a few classes, because they still have to know how to hold their hands and this. And so I don't get into the grabs or too much like that yet, because it's not necessary yet. They have to learn how to focus on hand positioning, body movement, all beginners. So in 2 days, yes, I mean, it's not a lot. We teach them, here's how you make a fist, here's a 1-2 combo, here's a front kick, and here's how you cover your head and your face so you protect yourself when someone tries to punch you. It's not hard to do or hard to learn, and I find that even just that is enough for 5 years old to even adults. It's not a lot. We don't want to give them a lot. We want to show them this is what you're going to get, and it's going to expand from here. The other thing is, it teaches them that I have to earn something from day one, that this white belt has to be earned, the next belt has to be earned, there's a process, there's curriculum to learn, I have to do it this way. So it's very powerful in the sense that, getting back to indistractions, we have so many distractions in our lives. Children, they have devices, they have distractions from school, they have distractions from online, distractions from bullying online. There's a lot of things going on in children's lives, and everyone talks about, well, back in my day, well, that was your day. Today, there's more. And the same thing when you were in your day, the older people were saying back in my day also, because everything changes every 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years. So what is relevant to children today isn't relevant when we were kids. When I took Tang Sudo, there was a reason I took Tang Sudo. While very similar to many children today, the reasons people start to train now are not always the same reasons people started then. And the distractions that I had when I was a teenager are there, but not to the level what distractions are to teenagers and adults today. So whether it's news media, whether it's whatever you call it, there's a distraction somewhere. Social triggers, all that. So my mission in 2020, and we try to pick a mission every year, it is to be indistractable. We want to make everybody not get distracted. To stop the focus nonsense, because everyone says focus. You hear when something is said all the time, it just bounces off people's ears. They don't hear it anymore. So focus has been said to death for like 30 years in the martial arts. So every time they say discipline, focus, this, everybody knows that. Okay, tell me something different. Well, I want you to be indistractable. I don't want you to fall trap to being distracted. I don't want you and I catch myself. I said, I have to turn off things. I only turn on like when I eat my lunch, it's the only time I maybe turn on an app to kind of catch up on some TV. But even then, it's just like, it's minor stuff. 15 minutes, I'm done, back to work. And then when I'm home and I'm done for the day, that's when I turn on my and it's not a distraction anymore. At that time, it's just entertainment. And it's for a limited window, and then I'm off again. Okay? Hey, Linda. So, with all the distractions we have, and parents come to me for various reasons with their kids, and we got a black belt mom on here now too. It could be they're not getting good grades. It could be they're bullied. It could be anything. It could be they're overweight. They need to get healthy. It could be they're not healthy. They're thin, and they need to get physically active. There's that too. There's so many things people come to. But they're all distracted from something. Something is keeping them from success. Something is keeping that child or adult from being successful. They're distracted. So when people would talk and say, you make them earn a white belt, what kind of gimmick? It's not a gimmick. It is the truth. I want them to earn their white belt. So they come in. Think about this. A kid comes in. The first day, it's always scary. Even adults. Adults are worse than kids sometimes. Hi, how you doing, Daisy? They get scared more than kids sometimes. So the first day is like, this is what you do. Here's how you come on the mat. Here's a few techniques, and then we'll see you next class. And on the next class, we're gonna have you earn your white belt. And I don't say we're gonna give it to you. We're gonna have you earn it. Okay. Well, how do I earn it? They say, everything I did today, I'm gonna ask you again, and just listen to me in class and pay attention to what I'm telling you. Sometimes I make them do a demonstration. I don't think it's always necessary. But on that second day, it's like, okay, you've done the first 2 steps. Now, let's earn your white belt. And I get that belt out and I present it to them like old school style, because I liked when the instructor would tie the belt on a student. I think it has purpose. It's like your old belt is on the floor, or in this case, they don't have a belt. I'm putting this on you because now the next journey starts. And now it's time to earn the next few successes you're going to have. And all the coaches in the studio do that. There's a reason why I say coach versus instructor. I'll tell you about it later. Okay? They all do that. They put that belt on them and they say, now it's time for the next step. Many more successes to come. And we do mean that. And they earn that belt. And I will tell you, there's a profound difference in someone who gets their belt handed to them just because they're starting out, versus like, it's next class. I'm going to have you do a few things. I want to observe you. And then here you go. It's time. Wear your white belt. And there are some kids that, if they're very active and they have no self-control, the instructor and coach tells mom, not today. He needs to learn that this is how we behave in class. And then the next class we'll talk. And the kid is shocked, and because he thought he was just going to get it. But you know what? They come back better every time. And now their attention span is better. They understand there's consequences, there's rules. They learn to socialize better. They learn not to talk out of turn. They learn that when an adult speaks, who's an authority figure, I have to listen. When they give me permission to talk back, then I can talk back. Why wouldn't you want that for any of your kids, right? Of course you want that for your kids. Adults too. Maybe they don't need the character development as kids do, but they do need that process. It's time to do it this ways. And one of my kickboxers here, the weight loss goals they set up, it's not exactly a traditional martial art where they earn belts, but the steps for them is, here's the first 2 pounds weight loss. Here's the next 2 pounds. Here's, you gained muscle now. In fact, she was telling me how one daughter is getting more fit and the other one's gaining muscle because of the training we do. So make yourself indistractable this year. Cut out the noise. That's all it is. And here's a technique I learned from Jesse Itzler. You can look him up. He's a motivator. His wife is the owner of Spanx, and he's very wealthy. He owned a bunch of jet companies, and he's a very animated guy. He did a book called Living with a Seal, like for 30 days. Look it up. It's pretty interesting. And he had a technique where you made 4 buckets, or you can put on paper. And in one bucket was happiness. And the other one was spirituality, like it makes you feel good in the inside. You're doing something beneficial to the world. Financial, and health. Okay? So there were 4 buckets. And he said he took all his activities And if the activity did not hit two or more of the buckets, then it was just a distraction, and he would just cut it out. And his biggest distraction he found out was watching football. He was watching football every Monday, every Thursday, and he realized, I'm watching too much football because it makes me feel good. And it doesn't mean don't do things that don't make you feel good. It's just like, whatever my goals are, all this does is just a dopamine rush. It doesn't give me that kind of satisfaction of other things. So it was just one bucket. So he cut it out, and he limits his watching football to whatever it is. It's like very minimal. So if you want to cut out distraction, do that. Figure out what the noise is and cut the noise out and stick to the stuff that hits two or more of those buckets. And then you're going to see your children, especially in our maximum impact program, they're going to start to see things that way. They're going to start to be less distracted. They're going to start to get better in school. They're going to feel better. And it's all because we had them earn their white belt. Instead of just, here's your white belt because you started today. Okay, think about that. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys soon, and stay warm. It's pretty cold today.